Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. faced pointed questions, to put it mildly, from lawmakers on both sides of the aisle during that heated hearing yesterday. Over the course of about 3 hours, members of the Senate Finance Committee grilled Kennedy on vaccine policy and the chaos at the CDC right now. Democrats calling him a charlatan and a hazard to the health of the American people, some of them saying he should resign.
Would you accept the fact that 1 million Americans died from COVID?
I don't know how many died.
The Secretary of Health and Human Services doesn't know how many Americans died from COVID. Doesn't know if the vaccine helped prevent any deaths. And you are sitting as Secretary of Health and Human Services? How can you be that ignorant?
You are citing data that you won't produce to the public.
You're just
and you are rejecting
You're
science.
making things up to scare people, and it's a lie.
With respect, I do not think I'm the one making things
You
up.
are
Thank you,
lying
Mr. Chair.
right now, Senator.
I'm asking the questions,
I
Mr.
asked you a
Kennedy.
question.
I'm asking the questions for Mr. Kennedy on behalf of parents and schools and teachers all over the United States of America who deserve so much better than your leadership. That's what this conversation is about, Mr. Chairman.
Senator, they deserve the truth, and that's what we're going to give them for the first time in the history of that agency.
Well, not just the Democrats, though, who went after Kennedy. Several Republicans, including two physicians who voted to confirm him, also pressed Kennedy on a number of issues.
Do you agree with me that the president deserves a Nobel Prize for Operation Warp Speed?
Yeah, absolutely, Senator. That was phenomenal.
Let me ask you, but you just told Senator Bennett that the COVID vaccine killed more people than COVID.
Wait,
that was a statement.
I did not say that.
Okay, then let me ask, because you also
Senator, I just want to make clear, I did not say that.
We'll check. You also told Senator Wyden at the outset that you didn't want to take vaccines away from people. And as I conclude, I would like to say this. Because of the conflicting recommendations made about COVID, this is from Eric Erickson, good conservative out of Atlanta, Georgia, occasionally gives me hell. My wife has stage 4 lung cancer. She is one of the people the COVID vaccine actually helps. Thanks to the current mess at HHS, CVS is unable to get her vaccine. I would say effectively we're denying people vaccine.
Senator Cantwell.
You're wrong.
I believe one of President Trump's greatest achievements was his bold and successful actions on COVID. When faced with a global pandemic, he didn't back down. He was determined to find a cure, and through Operation Warp Speed, a vaccine was developed that distributed quickly, safely, effectively, and I believe it saved many, many lives. I think it's a model of American ingenuity and public-private partnership.
I can't conclude from the discussion today where you are on Warp Speed. So I would like the definitive statement on exactly where you are. Was it good? Was it bad? Were there things that worked? Were there things that didn't work? I can't discern that from what you said here. I, for one, think that it was a signature accomplishment of President Trump, and the mRNA platform is something.
I agree with that.
I look forward to you giving us a detailed statement on exactly where you are with Warp Speed.
I support vaccines. I'm a doctor. Vaccines work. Secretary Kennedy, in your confirmation hearings, you promised to uphold the highest standards for vaccines. Since then, I've grown deeply concerned. The public has seen measles outbreaks, leadership in the National Institute of Health questioning the use of mRNA vaccines, the recently confirmed director of Centers for Disease Control and Prevention fired. Americans don't know who to rely on. If we're going to make America healthy again, we can't allow public health to be undermined. So could you explain what steps you're going to be taking to ensure vaccine guidance is clear, evidence-based, and trustworthy?
We're going to make it clear, evidence-based, and trustworthy for the first time in history.
I don't see how you go over 4 weeks from a public health expert with unimpeachable scientific credentials, a longtime champion of MAHA values, caring and compassionate and brilliant microbiologist, and 4 weeks later, fire her because at least the public reports say because she refused to fire people that work for her. So as somebody who advised executives on hiring strategies, number one, I would suggest in the interview, you ask them if they're truthful rather than 4 weeks after we took the time of the U.S. Senate to confirm the person, just for the future nominee that we're going to have to consider.
So a lot in there, Joe. By the way, Senators Barrasso and Cassidy are the two medical doctors. Two of them you saw grilling Kennedy there, asking him about Operation Warp Speed, which even Donald Trump has been touting within the last couple of days as one of his great achievements and an interesting and effective strategy by Republicans, putting Kennedy in the box of saying, do you agree that what President Trump, the guy who gave you your job, did is worthy of the Nobel Prize or was successful, and got him to at least say that, which then boxes him in when he talks about the vaccine. And he did, we want to point out, in 2020, call the COVID vaccine the deadliest vaccine ever made. That's a direct quote from Bobby Kennedy Jr. So a lot to sift through there, Joe.
A lot to sift through. I mean, as the senators said themselves, a lot of lies. He just lied repeatedly, according to the senators, according to the Republicans, and it is just really unbelievable, J. Mart, that you would actually have a cabinet member for Donald Trump undermine what all of those senators, Republican and Democratic alike, were saying could have been Donald Trump's greatest achievement in Operation Warp Speed. Yeah. Undermining it and saying more people died from Donald Trump's actions than from COVID itself. Right. And you know, it would be one thing, you know, we always talk about, you know, the Republican Party believes this, so they're scared of the Republican Party. You know, these Republican senators were quoting polls that showed that the overwhelming majority of Republicans support vaccines. The overwhelming majority of Americans believe that COVID vaccines saved lives. And yet you have this very, very small slice of the Republican electorate running with conspiracy theories, and then RFK Jr., who, according to Republicans, are putting children's lives in danger. So why he is at HHS remains a question that there doesn't seem to be any logical answer to.
Well, I think he cut a deal with Trump during the campaign last year in which he would endorse Trump and would get this plum position in the administration. I think it's a basically straightforward horse trading proposition. But, Joe, as you know, Trump is loyal to Trump. And if you're getting bad coverage and you're getting, you know, bad juju on Trump, he eventually is going to get tired of you. So I think Kennedy's facing profound challenges because of that. Just real fast, let me pull back the curtain on why I think there is so much hostility from the Senate Republicans. You know, they spent the first half of the year basically without recess in D.C., mostly to confirm members of Trump's cabinet, right? And they got through quite a few cabinet members. And they confirmed some folks who have now been basically turned out on their ear after a weeks-long tenure. So I think they're frustrated because of that. You know, here we are confirming your guys, then you push them out a half an hour later. It's embarrassing and frankly humiliating for us. The biggest news, I thought, in those clips you played was the role of John Barrasso. This is hugely important. John Barrasso is not just a Trump supporter, certainly. He's the #2 ranking Senate Republican. He's the Republican whip. And for him to sit up there reading from prepared remarks, that was not off the cuff. He knew what he was doing. It was a planned attack. To sit and read those remarks from Wyoming, by the way, not exactly the Upper West Side of Manhattan, I thought was very significant and reflected the profound frustration in the Senate GOP caucus about Kennedy and also just about confirming these folks who Trump then fires 2 weeks later.
Yeah, to J. Mart's point, President Trump, his affections only go so far, and they can change on a dime. But right now, he's standing with Kennedy. He likes the Kennedy name, the Kennedy legacy. He likes that endorsement. He likes the Kennedys working for him. People I've talked to in the White House say his view on Kennedy has not changed to this point. Also, there's a sort of a stubbornness here. We know Trump's first term was marked by a lot of turnover. And it's really a point of pride for this administration that we haven't seen that yet, except for the one national security advisor who was shown the door early. Otherwise, he's standing by his picks. So Ali Vitale, though, it is still so striking, as we're documenting here, that Republicans are willing to stand up to a Trump pick, really give it to Kennedy yesterday. And we can't underscore this enough, how dangerous a lot of what he said was. We shouldn't lose that while we analyze the politics of it. But what do you think here? Is this, where do we go? Is there going to be such pressure from the Hill? Is this another moment where maybe, we've seen a couple of them, where the GOP is willing to stand up to Trump and say, we're not just going to take everything you put our way?
Well, I think J Mart's read was my read, because when I saw Barrasso, not just Cassidy, who had already been pretty vocal about the fact that he had concerns and whatever else, but the fact that Barrasso was willing to, in prepared remarks, say what he said, I think is important. You saw a lot of those senators bringing in their prior history from before they came to Congress. Senator Michael Bennet, for example, was the superintendent of the Denver area school district. So when he says, I'm speaking on behalf of parents and students, he literally has been in those roles before. He knows what it means when places like Florida get rid of vaccine mandates and the impact of that on schools and on students. So that's an important piece of it. But I think when you talk about what happens next, probably nothing, right? I mean, pressure is important. You talk to public health officials, as I have. They say that the pressure is important to remind people of what you said, Lemire, that this is dangerous talk from the head of the HHS. But then at the same time, these members had every opportunity to voice their concerns with Kennedy, which they had then and still clearly have now, by not voting for him. And they all ultimately fell in line. And that's where the politics and the public health are so inextricably linked here. The other politics piece, I think, that is important when we consider the role of RFK Jr. and why he was able to carve out such a plum role, as J Mart detailed, it's because the Maha coalition is a sort of weird coalition within MAGA that does stand as the reason why Trump, even on his signature achievement of Operation Warp Speed, does tend to waffle. Even in Truth Social posts this week saying, yes, I thought it was effective, but the pharmaceutical companies should show why it was effective. He's waffled on this before, and it's because RFK controls a pretty important sect of the MAGA base, politically speaking.
Yeah, and really, we have seen President Trump on a number of occasions really cater to the fringes of his political base. He doesn't necessarily need them, but he's worried about alienating them. They're small, but they're loud.